Welcome to the HVAC Jerks with your hosts, Rich, Kevin, and Joe. You can email these guys at theboys@thehvacjerks.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the HVAC Jerks. My name is Rich, as always.
As always.
And as always, we're here with Kevin and Anonymous Joe.
Hello.
Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
This week, we're going to talk about integrity in business. But before we do that...
I thought it almost made it. Thought he forgot.
So close.
No,
So close.
can't forget.
So
it's
close.
the most important part of the show. Given Anonymous Joe his alias here.
No monologue today.
You're like the OSHA of aliases.
Am I?
Apparently.
I guess.
You've lived up to the name.
All right. Well...
Go ahead, Mr. U.S. Marshal.
The council this week voted, and they said that your alias for this week is going to be Mario the Mop.
Whoa.
Apparently, you clean things up.
Okay.
Clean up the messes.
I don't like the way you're
So
talking.
now I'm a cleaner?
No, you just, you know.
the
it's
cleaner?
The cleaner. It could be the cleaner. I don't know. Mario the Mop.
I don't
it
like
is.
the way you're talking to my friend.
No,
Your
no.
tone is all wrong.
The cleaner is an actual position.
I understand.
Okay, just letting you know. It's not a bad gig after all.
I don't know. What's better, the mess maker or the cleaner?
Oh, the cleaner's good.
The cleaner is good. All right.
Cleaner's the guy usually who makes the mess.
Perfect topic, integrity in business. So, all right, so integrity is defined as the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles or moral uprightness.
Uprightness.
So we can go with all different directions like most of these topics we do. And you know, I think you need integrity whether you're the employee or the employer. And hopefully our customers have integrity, but that's not always the case. And we can probably name all kinds of, or come up with all kinds of stories about
a lot of situations where customers are not so integral.
Yeah, but let's start with employees. Now, you're an employer. Mm-hmm. I haven't been an actual employer, but I've been a manager of many people throughout the years. And it's frustrating to deal with people that don't have integrity. I mean, it's just difficult. It throws off your game, and you have to adjust what you do because you're not sure what they're doing is ethical or they're telling you the truth or whatever. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think this it's so hard to see it and hard to find it. You know, you want good people in general. Just good, honest people that, you know, have families that take care of their business and, you know, just want to be better at what they do no matter what. And, you know, we look for that. And I think that goes back to another episode where
Hold on. Joe is smelling the markers here.
Oh, you want a paper bag?
Huffing, sniffing the markers.
John, we got any airplane glue? No.
Something's got to get me through this episode.
So, you know,
Cocaine,
I think it starts back where, you know, we've talked about in our other episodes, we talked about interviewing.
Yeah.
So I think this is like a key. That's where it starts.
So
you as an interviewer, you want to start right there and kind of look for people who have integrity. And I think not necessarily starts with the clothing, but, you know, there's so many aspects to it. The physical appearance, there's a physical.
It's hard to find that in the beginning when you first meet someone.
All right,
it is and it isn't. And I think Joe's going to tell me that I'm wrong.
Nope. I'm going to boil this down to what I always do.
Here we go.
It's got to do.
Joe,
And I'm not going to try to paint a broad brush, but I uncharacteristic. Well, I'm going to have to because this is a generational question. The ethics and morals have completely changed from our generation to the current generation. What we used to take pride in doesn't happen anymore. What we used to do.
I don't know if that's completely true, but go ahead.
Well, just let me finish my point and you'll see.
Can I interrupt?
Without interrupting.
Everybody's got to interrupt.
Can I interrupt?
Go ahead, interrupt.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
Okay.
That's it.
Go ahead. I just wanted to interrupt.
So basically, the work ethic is different today, and than when we were coming into the business as employees. We were much more abused in as working for somebody.
That's true, yeah.
Right? We got the boot in the ass.
Right. Yeah. So we learned
that doesn't
how
work today.
Yeah, but we learned how a boss or an owner or an employer wanted a certain job done. There was no mitigating circumstances that you got told.
Half-assed
nothing.
whatever,
There was none of that. There wasn't accepted. It wasn't acceptable.
Can I have a bean bag for lunch?
Yeah,
so
no. It was just, there was one way of doing it, and that was the boss's way. That was it. There was no democracy, no military. It was a military dictatorship. And going to the integrity part of it is people appreciated having a job. Okay, because in the earlier times, and I'm not talking about even past mine, when I was coming up.
It's like Roman days?
No, I'm talking about realistic times, 20, 30 years ago. And I don't know if, some of our listeners who went through that, the economic seasons in the 80s and the 70s.
The 80s, yes.
Yeah, no, in the 80s and the 90s where, there was a boom and then it crashed. And, everybody was appreciative to have a job. And when I grew up as a laborer, I mean, for what I did for the amount of money that I got today, it's unheard of. I mean, so, yeah, you wanted to get a pat on the back, not only get a pat on the back, but you also wanted to be acknowledged, I guess it's a pat on the back, from your employer as a hard worker. So you were mindful and prideful of how you did your job. Like you're saying here, are you giving somebody a good day's work for an honest day's pay? That's a big thing. It was more of a pride thing in those days than it is today.
Well, you got it from your coworkers too.
Of course,
when you worked a hard day, you're like,
everybody around you was doing the same thing. Everybody around you was doing the same thing. Where now the object is, how much can I skate today?
Well, I think, it used to be that the employees would bend to whatever the employer wanted or needed, otherwise you were out.
Right.
Now I see the employers bending to what the employees will accept a little bit more.
Well, it's a supply and demand issue, right?
It is.
Okay,
it's an in the middle.
Yeah, but it's a supply and demand issue.
It's different anyway.
We have less and less people coming into this trade. We have less and less qualified people that are in this trade. So we're constantly searching for the people who want to do the right thing, and when we get them, we coddle them. We want to keep them. We want to not make them not leave.
You almost don't have much of a choice,
right? So, and therein lies a problem. So if they're used to doing something a certain way, and you want something done a certain way, you're not going to win that battle. You're going to see what it's like to go through that. And I don't want to say this applies to all, but the masses in general have a more a reliance of just when they have a sense of entitlement more than they do an appreciation for having the job. You want me to do what for what you pay me?
You're tapping in. I think what you're really harping on right at the moment is work ethic.
Well, he's going about honest day's work, right?
We're going with integrity. Like, this is taking pride in your work, taking pride, putting your name on it, owning it at the end of the day, and putting your name on the company that you work for.
But that has absolutely to do with what I'm saying.
It does. It's definitely connected. There's no question.
It's a direct correlation to it. Yeah, I just don't want to get confused that you're knocking work ethic. Work ethic is a completely, we can break that down as a separate entity.
Yes, but integrity is what gives you that work ethic. You're looking to be the right guy for the job.
I'll buy that. Yeah.
Integrity is a characteristic of what you're doing.
Let go of my arm.
But now, so we'll take that and go to the next step where, as an employer, you need to be able to believe and trust what your employees are telling you. When you say, did you finish that job today? Did you get the line set in? Is it all wired? And if they tell you yes, and you go back tomorrow and the wire's not run for the condenser.
I'm gullible. I want to believe everybody all the time.
Because at the end of the day, you want the job finished, right? So if somebody's telling you it's finished, that's one less burden on your shoulder.
Yeah, but then you're planning the next day based on what somebody's telling you. If that's not the right information, then all your plans are thrown off.
So
absolutely. And that's more frustrating than anything else because now it's a lie. Right. Now it comes a little white lie. Didn't seem harmful yesterday, but now today it has, what's that theory? The moth? Little flutter of the wings is like a tsunami.
I'm not familiar with that one.
You never heard that one? No. There's like it's like the flutter of the wings of a moth like leads to a tsunami on the other side of the world.
Are you talking about
it's subtle right where it is?
From Godzilla?
No, come on. You guys are older than dirt. You didn't see this in the books of the Quran or anything? Come on.
Yeah, how often
you never heard of
the
this?
Quran?
So look,
yes, I've heard that.
It's the moth theory, right? So like the flutter of the wings of a moth or some crap like that leads to a tsunami on the side. So by the time it gets further away, it does more damage than it did at the
You're talking about the ripple effect.
Basically, yes. Okay, call it what you will. I use
like
the moth.
Like an old Chinese proverb.
It was in my fortune cookie last night.
So,
the guy brought it. Joe, great guy, delivers my stuff all the time.
So in other words, like
brought me a cookie and it said the moth.
Okay.
I went with
it. Like the one that's the man who farts in church sits in own pew kind of thing?
Yeah, right. The guy sits high on pot. Right.
So anyway,
but you need to be able to believe what your employees are telling you. It's different if they say, if you go there and say, were you working the whole time while I was out looking at the other job? And they sat down for 20 minutes and played cards or something. It's different if they say, yeah, we were working.
We got the job
really affect
done.
What you're doing. But if you say, is something wired or something finished or how far did you get, and they don't tell you the truth, that changes tomorrow.
Right.
For me personally, like I'm a man of my word. I've always felt that way. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. If I shake your hand, I'm going to live up to it.
And believe it or not, in today's day and age, you're the one setting the standard because a lot of the people that are coming to work don't have any. So you're saying to them,
different standards, different.
Well, there's
different standards.
In my opinion, is if you don't set the standard for your own company, that's an integrity issue because you're the one setting the example. So if you're truthful and honest and treat your employees the way you say you do, the minimum you got to get is the same from them. Right? So they're the ones telling you, they're the ones got to act.
That's what we're demanding.
Of course, but you have to set the standard. You cannot take mediocrity for a day's work. If somebody says, I half did it, that's not acceptable.
Right. And
you're the one who have to stand up and say, look, I want to be able to trust you. I want to be able to leave you on a job. I want you to lead. I can't do that if you're not straight up with me on a daily basis.
I'm putting 110% into my company and making sure that everybody that works for me is getting their paycheck on time, that the trucks are insured, my customers are satisfied at the end of the day, the equipment's ordered for the next job. We're doing the interviews. We're, making sure we have car insurance and, all of these things, right? So I'm doing 110% on my end of the world. All I want is you to do what I ask you to do as an employee for the pay that I'm paying you. And to me, that automatically becomes your integrity on the line right there. That was the agreement we made. We shook hands on it. I'm doing my end. Now you do yours. You as an employee need to recognize that and should recognize that and appreciate what is happening around you.
Yeah.
And not everybody understands it, so I would go back to episode 1 and catch up to 44 because we've talked about this numerous times. It's so hard and so difficult as a young person in any business to really get a feel for like what it takes to make a business run and how much effort it takes. And trust me, it puts a lot of effort. When I sign my social security number to every federal piece of paper that comes across that table, no one else is doing that. I am. Yep. Your paycheck is cleared because I okayed it. Like everything that happens with this business, you flip a dude off on the highway, that comes back to me. Right. Like everything that happens, no matter what, is on me 110%. So please just live up to your name.
Well, I think that you raised a lot of important points there. As an employee, you have to trust that the boss is going to pay you what he said he was going to pay you, and that your check is going to pay.
That's assumed. No one is fearing that anymore. We've taken that fear factor out. Right? Years and years and years ago, you feared whether or not you were going to have a job the next day. What did they call that? The depression? When no one knew when they were going to have a job.
That's true.
Right? So no one knew if they were going to get a paycheck, if they were going to get a slice of bread or a piece of onion or some lard fat.
While you're home.
No one knew, right? So you were held on a shoestring every day, never knowing if you were going to get that paycheck because you needed it more than they needed it.
I'm pretty sure that
doesn't exist today.
That John, our producer, worked for a company. And I don't know, John, you out there? He's taking a nap, I think. I see him.
Well, bring a bottle of water in, would you?
But I'm pretty sure he worked for a company that, for a while, that he wasn't sure if he was going to get paid that week, meaning not that they wouldn't give him a check. They would give him a check, but every time he went to the bank, it would bounce.
Right.
Or,
that's not integrity for the company. You're working for the wrong company.
Yeah. So
does John still work there today?
No.
Okay.
And he went
Answer. Question and answer.
But again, all the things that Kevin just said, though, about the names on the truck, the way they act, the way they flip off somebody, that's a standard. That's a level of company pride and company integrity that he demands. He
takes home with.
Yeah, that's not a choice, right? Yeah. That's an absolute. And if guys don't know that coming into a company that you're representing me,
yes, of course. For Price Chopper, I don't care who you work for.
You have to have a certain, look, that's all character, in my opinion. This is all brings down to how they were raised, what their work experience is like.
Look at point number 2 on the paper.
We have paper?
Yeah. I mean, it says it's generally difficult to have integrity in one area of your life and not in another. In other words.
Yeah, if you don't have any in your personal life, you don't have a chance at doing it in business, right?
And, so if you could actually identify that in an interview, that would be great. But that's really tough.
Yeah, but think about this. Think about the overwhelming amount of people out there who run businesses who are crooks and thieves and scam homeowners and scam buy a car. It's a lemon.
These
They
are
don't
people
give a
without
shit.
integrity.
Well, that's the whole point. So it's almost an insurmountable problem that exists in society, but it doesn't have to apply to your company.
It gives us a bad name, and
It's not just exclusive to HVAC.
no,
though, Kev.
it gives anybody with a service business or a what do they call contractors? That's the big name, right? I've always avoided the word contractor. I'm not a contractor. I'm a service provider.
Here we go to the labels again.
No, because labels count. When it comes to
service providers, the label as well.
well, service provider sounds a lot nicer than contractor. You say contractor, people automatically assume they're getting screwed.
You know,
Because you're a contractor, and I've heard that contractors just rip people off.
I think you have to realize that different people have different associations with specific things. You
It depends on
obviously
who
have
they
a
listen
bad-
to before you got in there.
Well,
you say contractor, you look up an ad, look up any article on YouTube, Facebook, whatever.
You have
and
a negative
use the word-
association with
It's not
contractor.
It's
and
just not
salesman.
me. It's not me. Look it up. Look up bad excuse. Contractor.
Well,
look up contractors.
I
It'll come
agree
up
that
negative.
a lot of people do. Yeah.
Negative. No, don't use this contractor. Use that contractor. I hired a contractor, and this guy didn't do the job. And so if you label
Yeah, you tried
yourself,
to upsell me.
probably that's probably why you got screwed at the end. But I stay away from it. We're a service provider, and that's exactly what we are. I don't want to be associated
Yes,
with
it's
a contractor.
a service
per se.
industry. You're in a service business. Okay, so, but I still think no matter what title you put yourself under, a level of integrity comes, and that's going to show from your reviews, from your website, from people doing business, word of mouth. Those are all going to speak to your integrity, whether or not you are the person you claim to be. So if that isn't passed along to your employees that say, listen, everything you do reflects my business, and as an employee, you should do that as self-pride and self-awareness to be able to say, I'm a guy somebody can trust. I'm a guy somebody can say, this is the kind of guy I want to keep in my company and promote and do well for him because he's going to do well for me.
Well, okay, I was going to say, as a guy working in the field, whether you're an installer or
And by the way,
service
guy
tech,
is not a one gender thing. It means everybody.
yes, if you're a buffalo in the field and you're an installer or a service tech, will you go back to your customer in 3 weeks or 6 months and feel confident about what you did and look them in the eye and have a conversation with them on the street, or are you going to shy away from them because you
Me
know
personally,
you
absolutely.
Or you run into him in the store and you go hiding around the
didn't,
corner.
you hide around the corner because you know you didn't connect
Holding
the
a box of
connectivity line
Ilios, frozen
or,
pizza in front of your face.
yeah, you didn't have any electrical tape, so you used Scotch tape or chewing gum to connect the wires or
Right.
something. You know, it's
Well, this is the life we live, right? So we're in a world where people are hypersensitive to social media. This is what we just talked about with Pam. Our new generation coming up is very, very large in population, and they're very in tune to social media. They're on internet, they're on Google, they're very in tune to all these things. So when we go out and make a mistake, it's out there. When we go out and put our social, our daily lives on social media, it's out there. Like everything we do about our company, everything you do as an individual, it's out there. So 25, 30 years ago, when we were coming up in this business, and I say, well, I was coming up. You guys were already veterans back then. When I was coming up in this business, we didn't have these things. These tools were not available to anybody. We had a payphone and a pager. That was like my big thing, right? And
Or you go to your
Nextel
customer's
was
house and say,
groundbreaking.
can I use your phone for a minute?
Right. So, I mean, like we didn't have Instagram.
No,
We didn't have,
sure.
Google. We didn't have, and neither did the customer. Like you had dial-up, took 30 minutes to connect.
when we were
depending
starting,
on
they didn't have wood.
Right. So we were, we invented that in 95?
Yeah.
You guys need to speak for yourselves because I'm not as old
back
as
in colonial days, you guys had wooden shoes.
At least we had shoes. Look what you're doing.
I'm going barefoot,
Jesus.
baby. I'm going barefoot.
Yes,
We're in a very tight
What happened
space
here?
with no air conditioning and funky
I
feet.
was waiting for the mop to bring me a pair today.
Mario the mop.
Mario the
Hey,
mop to hook
Johnny
me up.
boy, is there any air in this joint, or are we gonna have to smell toes all day? Do you have
Man,
any
it's getting wicked. It's getting wicked in here.
those pine trees you can hang in here?
So we, you look at the generation. So it was a learning curve for guys like my age that are coming up, and you guys, we've all dealt with it. Like we went from, old school mentality of just your word meant something, to now being replaced by whatever the internet said.
Right.
So your word is almost like,
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
You're right.
like
you got competition on
right. So now
yeah.
it's about how you stand. It's about how you make eye contact,
Yeah.
as opposed to, well, Rich is a good guy. Like we went to church together, and his kids play with my kids, and that stuff doesn't mean as much anymore. Now it's like, well, the Google said.
Well, here's you're making really, really fabulous points, and I'll tell you. And I'll tell you why.
Pretty fabulous.
Yeah, you are.
Well, not on screen.
Well, but your points are very well taken because Google has become the new Bible.
It's the way of the world.
Internet is loaded with information, and everybody assumes everything they read is true. There's nobody second guessing.
Right.
There's nobody second guessing what they see on internet.
Right.
In the internet,
is
or Wikipedia.
100% right.
So you're doomed
all the time.
You're doomed, and I want to make sure that everybody understands. I'm not saying that everybody or the younger generation doesn't have integrity. I still have hope for the masses, and I think they are doing the right thing for the most part.
They'll have no choice but to be in.
But I think what's happening, though, in schools as they're coming through grade school, high school, and even colleges, they're not experiencing that level because the atmosphere has become so relaxed. There is no sense of
nobody's held accountable.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah. I mean, it's as you
can't say nobody. I mean, it hasn't gone to that extreme. There's less accountability than there was years ago.
Not so much accountability. It's like, listen, everything goes. Everything is acceptable. Everything is the society as a whole is changing for integrity purposes. It's the assumption of guilt now instead of innocence in a lot of cases.
Let me describe a guy to you. There's somebody that I know. I've known this guy, I don't know, probably 10 years or so, and not as a friend, just as an acquaintance. And
it's not at the park and ride, is it?
No. No. So this guy
is this the toe tapping story?
He's a service technician, and he's a decent service technician. Yeah, he's not a great service technician.
Is he for hire?
No, I think he's happy where he is. But you have discussed somebody in the same situation. This guy, he's aggressive, and he's usually pretty good with the customers, and he's a decent technician. But when he starts talking to somebody, he comes up with these facts that aren't facts, and I don't think the guy means to deceive anybody. I truly believe that this stuff just pops into his head, and he says it, and he believes it. But I stand there. No, I stand there and listen to this guy, and
Mario the Mop.
It drives me crazy because it's all bullshit. Right. Half of what the guy says is not.
Do you ever call him on anything?
Yeah, once in a while I do, but after a while I just can't stand standing next to him anymore.
Well, it's after the fact, and the damage is done at that point, especially if you already had a conversation with a customer, because now...
I can't go back and say, everything he told you is bullshit.
Well, you can't do that in the middle of the conversation either.
No.
So there's times where I've saw an opportunity to interrupt and break that conversation up and be like, out, let's go, and take it over and try to squash it.
If you can catch it early enough before he goes too far.
But, there's more damage done than good at that point, and it's super hard to recover for those things. So you almost kind of want to just let it play out and then come up with
some.
Well, he's Russian. He just learned English, and we don't know.
But he's an exchange student. A guy like that doesn't necessarily. He's not. His intention isn't to deceive anybody. It's just just crap that
it's
comes
not
out
meant
of
to
his
be
mouth.
harmful. It's not meant to be harmful. It's a personality quirk amongst an individual.
No, but let's really analyze that. Sometimes people believe what they're actually saying.
No way.
It's true. And
so maybe
don't make me go political on you.
Yeah, but he may think because he's saying it, it's true.
Well,
right?
This guy does believe it's on the internet, it's true.
Right. Well, besides that, he may believe exactly what he's saying is true.
And again, that's a personality quirk. That's,
exactly.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's actually fact. But customers, they understand the basics of what they're talking about. They might have insight from a not so highly intelligent neighbor or a friend or a family, they might know a little bit about it.
A guy like that can be dangerous to your business.
But a guy can it can be detrimental to your business. And so you want to limit the verbiage that person uses with customers.
Less is more.
You shut them up or you take them out of that position.
Yeah, but you're going through this.
Moving on. You got to take them out of that position.
How you stop it is, listen, you got to take this out or you have to get another job.
It's not something they can control.
Yeah,
it's a second nature thing. It's out of their control. It's a mentality thing.
Before you talk, stop yourself.
No, it doesn't work like that. They don't have a trigger. They can't switch it on and off.
It just goes.
It takes him over. He's been, how old is this guy? 30, 40? All right, so 40 years he's been doing this, and then he's been told since second grade, stop lying, and he hasn't stopped.
And I'm telling you, the guy does not mean to deceive anybody. It's not malicious.
I don't know if there's a drug.
Is it a level of he gets a self-importance out of it?
Absolutely.
That's probably what it is. You're right.
There's a classification for this. So we should we could always call Heather and bring her in as a guest. We can have a conversation about the mental disposition of people, with this kind of. What do you count?
No JBFMs in this room.
Junkie bitch.
I didn't say it.
MFer. We'll keep it somewhat clean.
You're going to keep it clean.
Him and my wife have pet names. But we can always get that JBFMFer or whatever. JBMFer on the phone here, and we can talk about those things because that's a legitimate thing. So, when we want to get into personality, you know what? That's a great topic, too. I mean, just the type of personalities of people in general, as a whole, not anybody in particular. Right. This particular gentleman you're talking about is a certain person, but I have a situation with a young man right now that's very similar to that. So yeah, there is a self-satisfaction out of it. There's a self-elevation, if you will, like
self-importance. They're probably thinking, well, nobody else thinks I'm important. I might as well make myself important.
I don't know if it's that, but I
don't think they do it consciously.
Yeah, it's so second nature. Like, I could literally say, like, do not go in there and talk to the customer. Like, I do not want you to go in there and talk to the customer.
Yeah, sometimes
you're looking at me in the eye.
By the time you're in your truck,
yes.
Do not go talk to my customer.
I'm going in to talk to the customer.
Shut your mouth and don't go talk to my customer. And 30 seconds later, he's like, well, no kidding. Look at the handprints on the wall. Like, did you ever see these before? Like, I'm going to wipe them up. Don't worry. They won't be there. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, stop talking to people.
Yeah.
Just do your job. When you're 5 years in and you have a clue, then we'll allow you to talk to people. Until then, just zip it.
They try to talk about things that they have no idea how things work, what they should do, what the code is.
So this goes to age. This goes to experience. So there's a lot of factors here.
But I got age and experience on the one from the guy I'm talking about.
So he hasn't learned, right? He's 40 years old, and this guy's still struggling with this problem.
Yeah.
And it's an issue. It's obviously affecting his job and how he's going to
this guy's
progress.
I don't want to interrupt you, or stop
Rich,
you.
You're very good at it.
I am good, and that's why So he's been attacking this for more than 20 years. 20 years he's been doing this, and the other day I asked him, has he
been with your company for 20 years?
No.
How many companies has he been with for 20 years?
I know of 3 companies that he's been with.
Yeah.
But I asked him the other day, is that unit a 3-phase unit? And he said to me, I don't know if it's 3-phase or 2-phase. And he was serious. He couldn't.
Really?
He just
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
A lot of it comes from not knowing stuff, right, and pretending that you do.
Yeah, but it's okay to say, I'm not sure, or I don't know, and go learn something.
Jeez, I even know that one.
No, but he's got away with that for 20 years. That answer's worked for 20 years.
He's very aggressive in his mannerisms and the way he speaks. He speaks with authority no matter what he's saying.
Right. So people have listened to his white lies.
Is yellow, yes. And they believe.
Right. Yeah. So that's enabled him to believe what he's saying is true. So this is just an ongoing 20-year thing that is built up to the situation.
I got to say,
you're not going to change this man.
When it comes to personalities, I would always defer my questions to you because Mario Mott, because you're really good with people's personalities. I believe that. I mean, I think that's what makes you a good.
He's the cleaner.
I lie too.
He's a liar.
You know how to analyze people. You know how to read people well.
My philosophy on telling the truth and lying is this. It's very simple.
Do I have sexy feet?
Absolutely not.
That's a lie.
The truth.
That is an absolute lie.
So my philosophy is this. If you're going to lie, you're going to have to perpetuate that lie. It's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
So
just one lie needs 24 more.
Yeah, and then you got to remember all the ones that you say. Right? So it's not worth the effort. It's not worth the effort. Be truthful, no matter what the pain is. Get it out. Get it open. It's done.
But how do you deal with a guy like this? The guy that I described.
You got to call him out. Every time he does, you got to call him out.
But every time I've called my guy out, it's the same thing.
But I would do it in front of people. I'm going to say, if you're going to continue to lie, I will embarrass you in front of the people.
We've done it publicly. Yeah. I've done it in front of customers. I've done it.
And again, maybe we have to defer to that JBMF on this. I don't know.
But we're back at it. Today we had exact conversation.
No, but we may have to divert this to JBMF.
I was thinking the Unemployment Bureau of New York.
Or that.
I think they're going to handle it.
That's cause and effect, right? That's the problem.
So it's little lies. little lies across the board, like as if nobody knows. All right? So we're doing a mini split swap. Heads getting put on the wall. Guys outside, guys inside. We got this guy that we're doing a favor for, a family friend. We brought him in for like a day or two a week. Just in between, college and literally he's going for finance, knows absolutely nothing.
Right.
Don't ever touch me.
Hey, easy. Leave the mop alone.
Yo, don't touch me. I'm burning yourself.
Don't go rinsing the mop. Not during the show. So
the guy who doesn't know anything.
So the unit gets in, everything's installed. The electrician comes, fires it up, and one unit's not working. We're getting codes. So we send a guy out. We're getting codes. And we send a guy out, and the guy goes back out. Now it's on my dime, right? Because we just did this. So we send a guy, and this is a job. It's an hour away. Right? So we go back out there. So the guy goes out and says, the interior unit was not wired right. No,
okay.
Like on the mini split systems, like we use the big F. So, so it's we usually do red, white, and black. That's that's our color code all the time.
It wasn't red, white, and black. It
was red, black, and green with the white on the ground, right? So that's not how we do it, right? Yep. So when it came out and said, hey, someone wired this wrong, we just sent somebody back. Like, come on, we've done 1,000 of these. Why is this an issue all of a sudden? Where did we fail? And the first thing it wasn't me, it was the new guy. He wanted to step up and, fix the unit and wire it. And I'm like, this kid doesn't even know what a screwdriver is. Like, literally does not even know what a screwdriver is. He is here to carry things from here to there, sweep, and drive a truck. Right. Like, that's his job. He's afraid.
Talking to the customer?
This kid's afraid. Like, he would never even suggest, hey, I should go up on that 8-foot ladder and wire that. Like, that's not even in his mindset, right? So the fact that he turned around and the first thing this guy said wasn't me, it was that guy. And I'm like, okay, so you're telling me that you let the guy, who's not even the apprentice, not even the first-year apprentice, the guy that doesn't even belong here. Yeah. And I'm not knocking this kid. This kid's awesome, but he doesn't belong here. Right, and he knows it, and we're whatever.
So who's the idiot for letting him up there?
You're still wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong for allowing the new guy to wire it, and then you're even more wrong for not following up and saying, well,
double checking his
let
work.
me see if you did it right. Right, so 2 times now you're wrong with the scenario you just gave me.
Yeah.
Right? So then I go to my other guy, and I just said, hey, man, you remember that job? Blah, 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 blah. And he goes, yeah. He goes, who are you working with? He goes, I was me and the other guy. And I said, okay, it wasn't the new kid. He goes, nah, man, I gave the wire to the other guy. He was in there. I was yelling at him. Blah, 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 blah. He wired it up. So I'm like, all right, cool. So then I go to the kid, and I said, hey, man, did you wire a unit the other day? And he goes, oh, no, man. He's just like, no way, dude. Like, I would never even attempt to do that.
I don't even carry a hammer.
He goes, I don't even know where I start with that, you know? And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and this kid's sincere. Like, he's got integrity. Like, he's not going to lie to me about this, right? But the other guy told me that he threw this kid under the bus. And it was like, come on, dude. Like,
well, here's a problem with your story.
And he's still sticking with it.
But here's your problem with the story is, it's happened so many times, and this is going to apply to you as well. It's happened so many times with these guys. Even if Jesus came down and said he's telling the truth, you're not going to believe. You're not going to believe him.
At this point, no.
You're not going to believe him anymore.
Yeah, but if you check him every time and he's lying every single time.
No, but my point is, even if the guy was legit and said the guy did it, if he would have said to you,
wolf.
Even if he said to you, I failed to check his work, but he did do it, it is a fault. But you still wouldn't believe him because he's cried wolf so many times.
Absolutely.
So
you're crying wolf.
That's a problem in and of itself. So
how do you promote that guy?
So today, promote, you fire. Like at this point, like we did a basic coil swap condenser. 2 guys. I brought the equipment. I took the garbage. 100% accurate install, measurements perfect. No crazy ductwork. Slide in, slide out. 3 to 4 hours. We're done. Right. Okay. We're back on a water leak, water all over the basement. Are you kidding me? Like, we did it in 4 hours. We were done by lunch. What was the rush? I don't get it. Well, the pump's burnt out. The pump was working 4 days ago. We did a swap. Now it's not working. Like, I don't understand how it's not working all of a sudden, but it worked 3 days ago, 4 days ago. and now it's not working, and there's
by
water all over it.
coincidence,
Just by
happens to
coincidence,
stop.
we were there today, and now it's not working. So, okay, that's fine, but this is the cry wolf. So now I want to see the pump. Bring the pump back to me. I want to physically see the pump. Well, I was going to throw it out. No, you're still on the job. You're bringing that pump back to me.
Plugged in.
Right. But I put a brand new pump in this guy's house to cover for his lie.
Right.
Whatever, as far as we're concerned, as the business is concerned, we look okay, and I don't like it, but he brought it back, and the first thing he did this morning was throw it in the dumpster. And we had our meeting, and I said, now, where's that pump? And he thought I forgot about it, and I waited and waited and waited to the very end. I was like, now I want to see that pump.
Yep.
And he went out, and he dug it out of the dumpster, and he brought it back in, and I said, okay, go do your call. See you guys later. And I went in and put water in it. Freaking thing shot water 8 feet in the air.
But when you call
There's
this
nothing
guy
wrong
on
with
all,
the pump.
when you call this guy on all his nonsense, what does he say? What's his excuse?
I know.
To his defense, is it possible that the float got stuck?
Anything is possible. Did you free the float up? Well, it just was filled with water and it was plugged in, so it was burnt out. So that was your answer. It was burnt out, but you didn't investigate any
You
further.
didn't check the float.
Didn't check anything. Just it was filled with water, and it was that's it. That's so it's burnt out. But it's not my fault. It's the pump's fault, right? So integrity, live up to who you are as a man, as a woman, as a person.
He just doesn't know. He thought it would be better to make the customer feel a certain way that, your pump burnt out, we're going to give you another one.
Look, if it's a matter of saving the customer as a customer, and you have to, say, hey, look, man, this guy was pissed. There was water all over his floor, and I had to do this to save
him,
the situation.
right.
Sometimes you got it.
Sometimes that happens, and we got to do that.
Just say it, right?
But
just
then say it. Why are you lying to me about it?
You would be coming out as a hero at that point.
Just be like, dude, man, we were totally losing this guy, and I saved him. I had to do this. I know the pump's good.
I had
but the guy wanted a new pump.
where I had to do something like that, where I ended up giving the guy his money back because we had made a mistake, and I could have gotten away with.
Was this at the rest area again?
We made a mistake.
Was there Macy's bags
I could have
involved?
covered this up, but that wasn't whatever.
There was
two brown Macy's bags involved?
Yeah.
He doesn't like these jokes. He gets very flush in the face. It's on video. Yeah, he's all red in the face. All right, pick one.
What's the matter, Richie? It's hitting too close to home, my boy?
Not for me.
So what happened? You gave this guy
Not
his
that
money
we're
back.
judging, of course.
No,
I mean, outside of not coddling and
Yeah, whatever.
No spoon. You didn't get your money.
No, I mean I could have made an excuse or covered my guy, but it wasn't the right thing to do. I mean, we made a mistake and we went back and it should have been a callback, but the guy charged him for it, and we owned it and gave him his money back.
I should bring in the audio of the lady that just called us screaming and yelling about the guy that flipped her off, and and I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? You can't be doing that.
I just sent you a lead today.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like,
it wasn't
this lady's irate, and I'm like, man, she's pissed. What did you do? And he's like, dude, he told me the whole thing, and
cut me off, and I flipped.
No, he owned it. He was like, man, I took a turn a little wide. I stopped. I let her go, but she was just already in a bad mood. And what? Hey, look, we all have our stuff, and
but that's the
but it's
difference
funny
with integrity. The guy tells you that he did it.
Hey, look, I want to hear your mistakes. If you make a mistake, own it. I make my mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
I want to hear it. I'm not hiding behind anything. I don't blame anybody. Everything I do is me. If I trip and fall in a casino and I miss 2 stairs and do a tumble roll, come up with a pistol in my hand,
and after Joe stops laughing for half an hour,
that is my fault. That is all me, and I will take responsibility for that.
Integrity in business, and we're running a little long here. I just want to hit one more point. Supply houses and manufacturers. I mean, they got to have integrity too. And
absolutely.
It's the only way you stay in business. It's the only way you stay in business. Companies that do recalls and then look to blame everything else and everybody around them instead of taking the initiative and say, look, this was we discovered this problem. We're going to do it before it's mandated by the government to take a recall or something like that. That shows a company that's interested in making sure that the consumer and the people they deal with on a regular basis are very well taken care of.
It's frustrating to me, and this was a big deal 5, 6, 8 years ago when things start failing in the field and it's consistent. And we had a problem with TXVs and I don't even remember what the problem was.
I remember that.
All the TXVs were failing.
No one knew how to test them.
Yeah,
no, I remember that.
And all the companies denied that there was a problem. But I mean, we were going through hundreds of these things.
Right.
And it took forever for the companies to admit it. And that's just really frustrating. And it's nice when they can get out in front of the problem. And of course, you can't. You say there's a problem with the first.
Look, every manufacturer is mandated, and I don't want to say. See, now I'm making up a story because I'm not sure if that's true. But every manufacturer any good manufacturer always sets aside a portion of money to deal with these issues.
Right.
Because nobody's immune from it, right? Every manufacturer can go through a production run of problems or something happening to a piece of equipment or
you get a bad guy on the line.
You know, you never know.
It's a Friday.
But they're all funded for this. So there's most of the smart manufacturers will get in front of this thing before the public is aware or start having problems, and they do the right thing. And look, when I chose the job I have is because of the level of integrity my company has. I chose
any company on the global platform,
right?
Anybody who's doing it at the level that they're doing it.
I had a very comfortable job where I was, and the company I worked for also was very competent in the same regard. But this was just a step higher because it was a company making something family-owned. They got their family name behind it. They're doing everything they can to make sure that's the highest level of quality so that their customers and end users get the very best that there is to offer.
You're going to have limited success and longevity if you don't have integrity.
Absolutely, because it all comes back.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, it comes back.
Well, we talked about this. We get what you pay for. So you're on the other end of that,
true.
right? So
Yeah.
people are going to get what they're paid for. So if you're out to scam them, you're out to do it with bad intent.
Right.
If you're just looking to make a buck at the moment, that's all going to backfire on you. You're not going to last long.
Right.
If you're going to be an employee that's just going to be an overnight guy that's just here to make a buck for today, and I'm going to do what I can to take advantage of this or whatever, you're fly by night. You're going to be spotted out. You're going to be seen a million miles away.
I really want to clarify one thing before we end this episode.
Yep.
I'm a handsome-looking man.
When it comes to the integrity of manufacturers and their parts and their equipment, bear in mind that they'll ask you to do a few things and check a few things, because if it's not a prevalent issue, most times 9 out of 10, it's an installation issue.
That's the truth.
So they can't be held liable for asking you to double check this and double check that. They're not trying to make you jump through hoops. They want to make sure that the problem that is happening is addressed and is addressed correctly. And we want to make sure it's the fault of the individual
because
product.
most of the time they find out that the motor really wasn't bad. They hooked it up to 230 instead of 115.
Exactly. So, and that applies to anybody's company and anybody's. They want proof. They want issues to be of concern. They want something tangible to say. Yes, we failed.
That's frustrating for the service provider because you got to sit on the phone and go through all the nonsense
this falls
questions.
back into your branding issue.
This is also fair for everyone because
it's every brand, product, everything that you've ever bought.
And I mean, how many? Listen, it's terrible to say this, but Kevin's probably been on more repairs from other installers than he does on new calls, right? Because he's always being called to fix somebody else's headache.
Yep.
That's not a manufacturing issue. That's an installation issue.
90% of the time, it's an installation issue. It's not
like we're making this stuff up. I used to make a living following this one guy around fixing all his shit, and it was good. It was okay. It was terrible for the homeowner to go through it.
The company that fired me many, many moons ago, I told them, I said, as long as you're in business, I'll be
always
fine.
have work.
That's how I left.
That's great.
So look, you're talking about wholesalers.
Yes.
So pay attention, wholesalers, right? So pay attention to who they're carrying as a product line. Who are they going to associate themselves with, right? And then do you want to associate with them because of who they're with? So pay attention to the companies. Do some research. Be smart. Be
Everybody's
savvy.
got a piece in it.
Be savvy, man.
Circle.
Don't just it's because it has a name.
Yeah.
Names don't mean anything anymore. That's just where we go back to branding. These big conglomerates buy names.
The bottom line is now. I'm going to say this because it has absolutely reference to this. We talk about branding. We talk about marketing. What's being done today? Branding used to be the number one marketing theme in the world.
Anymore.
Right now, performance-based marketing is taking over brand recognition marketing.
Yeah.
So people are going
because they spit on the name of brand.
Right. No, but
brand
people are going.
Anything.
People are going to how does this thing perform? That's their new marketing strategy.
What's the warranty?
Right? Right, or how does it perform? What is the actual reference to the performance? Tell me about your product and the performance, because that's the reason we're going to buy it. So the global market is shifted almost 50% going towards performance-based marketing as it is to that relates to a brand recognition marketing.
That's a different animal.
That's enough for this one. Integrity in business. I think this was a good topic. As with most of them, we'll probably cover this again at some point, a little bit more detail. But
Well, it's almost in every topic we cover.
it is because they're all so good.
This one
all
tapped
related.
into like 15 different.
Yeah, it's life. It's personal. It's business. Integrity applies to everything. Your children, how you raise them.
Yeah, 30 or 40
the whole
minutes
thing.
isn't enough to cover any of these
this is a
topics,
life.
but,
This is a life topic, and we might
anyway.
have to get JBMF in here.
Yes.
We might.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us again. The HVAC Jerks appreciate all your patronage, and hope you'll send us an email and tell us what you think and give us some ideas at the boys.
And stay tuned next week when Anonymous Joe comes in on his one-wheel tricycle
pretty close
to deliver Italian bread.
Mario the Mop. Be sure to join us next week when Anonymous Joe
Here we go.
accepts an offer from the Pentagon as a translator for extraterrestrial visitors seeking political asylum.
Yeah, that's me, babe.
All right, that's all over.
So let's
All right.
let's not forget Delta T.
Delta T
and
Creative.
make sure we check out the shop there. We got our nice shop of T-shirts and hats
there
and
you
coffee
can-
mugs.
Yeah,
and
check out YouTube.
socks
There's
and-
videos now.
We got
We got
all the stuff
videos
is
on
There's a
YouTube.
place you can go and not see me.
We can never find you. If you could spot Joe, you win the prize.
Yep. Yeah, find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. You can
YouTube,
find me on
YouTube,
LinkedIn. YouTube, definitely. And plan on taking a trip down to Orlando next February and checking out the AHR show.
Yeah, and please like us and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. And show us you care.
All right, that's enough of the crap.
Joe
at the
likes
end.
free.
So, have a good week.
You guys are jerks.
Follow the HVAC Jerks on Facebook and Instagram.